Hey guys, so I've got on my black t-shirt, got my cup of coffee, but this isn't Cup of Joe. In last week's episode, I teased that we're going to start a new series about living the life you want. Because the number one thing people always say to us when we tell them we live in an RV full-time, we travel the country, is, I wish I could do that. And our response to them is always, you can do it. And we want to talk through how planning, gaining financial freedom, and taking some calculated risks, you can live life on your own terms and do what you want.
Today's episode will focus on what living life on your own terms means and how to figure that out.
So the big revelation for us was that we were stuck in the American dream. Growing up, this was always touted as the way you wanted to live. So you go to school, you get good grades, get into the best college you can, get the best job possible afterwards, buy a car, get married, buy a house, have kids, make six figures, all of this stuff. And, growing up, that felt like the natural thing to do. But we realized that we got stuck in this cycle where we would wake up every day, go to work, come home, we'd spend a few hours together at night, probably like having dinner or watching TV, and we realized we needed to get out of that because on weekends we still weren't really free. We were able to take some time off and really enjoy ourselves, but what we were having a problem with was both of our jobs. We were constantly checking email on the weekends or getting texts from a boss, things like that. And we never really were able to take time for ourselves. And I think the excuse was always, we work hard, we save money, we put money in our retirement so that when we're 65, we can retire and enjoy life. But I think the big thing for me was, I have a bad back, I have a bad neck. And what am I going to be like when I'm 65? Am I going to be stuck in a wheelchair? Will I be able to get around places like I can now and really enjoy life? And, I think the revelation was we needed to get out, work for ourselves, and really determine the life that we wanted to live and not have someone else doing it for us. Because when we were in corporate America, the corporation essentially told us how to live. You have to be here at a certain hour, you have to work, then you can go home and you have to be back. Oh, by the way, at night you better be checking your emails as well.
And here the number of vacation days you get.
Yeah, exactly. For us, that wasn't acceptable. So we decided to take steps so that we could get where we are today. So living life on our own terms meant working for ourselves and not having other people determine our destiny. Like, is my boss going to give me a raise? Is the company going to keep going? Am I going to get laid off or this or that? We wanted to take control of that and set our own path. Now, when we told people what we were going to be doing, there was a big group of people that were really supportive. They all wished they could be doing this. It seemed like the older crowd were really kind of congratulating us for realizing what they have now realized in their older age, and they all wish they could have done it at our age.
So for those of you who don't know, I grew up in Beijing, China, and when I moved to the United States, I was told about this great American dream, very similar to what Joe had already said, and that's all I knew, and that was sort of the goal I had in my mind for my life. It wasn't until we figured it out together that it was this American dream that really made me unhappy. Because in this version of the American dream that I was living, it was all about delayed happiness. Work hard now, live your life later, enjoy it then. But so many things have happened in my life, in both of our lives, where we realize that life is really short. And why wait for tomorrow? Live today.
Yeah.
Recognizing the fact that it was the American dream that I thought I was living that was making me unhappy really helped me figure out what living life on my terms meant for me. And I'm very fortunate to have a partner in crime that has the same same vision as I do.
we realized we needed to start our own company, or do something for ourselves. And like right now with the videos and the blog posts and everything else, we're working a lot more than we did in at our previous jobs. But for us, it's so much more fulfilling, because not only are we working when we want to, we're working on what we want to. We have total control. We can steer the ship any direction we want to. And it's really about that freedom. We feel free now, whereas we didn't feel free before. And there are some jobs out there that allow you to do what you want, work your own hours and everything else. And for people who have found that, if you're happy there, that's fantastic. But I know there are so many other people who get caught up in the daily grind. And, it's that, like I mentioned before, it's that cycle. Wake up, go to work, get home, have dinner, watch whatever is on the DVR, and then go to sleep, and then rinse, repeat, and do it again the next day. The things I was really looking forward to is, I'm like, can I get the promotion? Can I make more money? And, one day we'll be able to get a bigger house or a nicer car. Once we were able to get out of that, that was really freeing for me.
So the big key here is figuring out what living life on your own terms means. So for us, that means leaving corporate America, working for ourselves, doing something that we love, and living life and enjoying it today.
But what about you? Now, this video is supposed to be to start helping you find what life on your own terms means to you. You have to start getting into a process of analyzing your current life, thinking about, what are the things that are making you either unhappy or unfulfilled, and starting to break that down.
I would recommend, and this is something we did, we both had our notebooks. We write down things that, made us really happy, things that made us unhappy, and trying to distill that down to exactly what it was that would make us happy and things that would make us unhappy.
As we were distilling things down, we really realized that some of the things we had come up with we were more trying to run away from our current situation, rather than correcting what it is that was making us unhappy. And by that I mean, if we moved to another state, we would end up with similar jobs in similar neighborhoods and everything else. And I remember asking Kate one time, I said, because we were considering moving down to Texas, and I said, if we move down to Texas and we have the same type of house in the same neighborhood with the same type of jobs, are you going to be happy? And she said,
Nope.
No. That plan, that idea was us trying to run away from our lives to make it better, rather than actually changing our lives and fixing, what we saw as a problem for us. You kind of come up with a bullet point list of what it is you want to do. So it's all about that whole process to put something together.
But to Joe's point, it's really important to make sure that you're not running away from something, and trying to find out what exactly it is that's making you unhappy and how you can live life on your terms. Another key factor for when we've figured out what living life on our own terms meant was really getting out of the consumerism frame of mind. I realized that in this American dream of mine, I was so caught up buying the latest things and designer stuff and making sure that I could keep up with everyone else at work, and just constantly spending money and thinking that I had to spend all this money and buy stuff to make me happy. I actually haven't bought anything since we've been on the road. Can you think of anything? And I love this lifestyle because we don't have room for anything. And in fact, I can't wait for us to downsize and go smaller, because I've got stuff now that I don't need.
And, we would find that after working all week, we needed to get out, even weeknights. And we were doing it to escape because we were so stressed out that day. And then on the weekends, rather than doing constructive things like working in the garden, we actually had chickens, we had a garden. And for us, rather than, working there, we would go to the mall. I was walking through these places, and my definition of need meant, something I'd like to have or something that I can see useful, but, need now has taken on another meaning. And it's funny because I mentioned the chickens in the garden. I think The chickens and that were really what sparked us to do this. And it may sound crazy, but when we had chickens in Los Angeles, we got them so that we could have our own eggs. Then we started our own vegetable garden. It was a small plot, but we actually grew quite a bit of food. And to us, it was like something clicked. And it was, we were no longer reliant on a supermarket to get our food. We could do it ourselves. And I think that process of self-sufficiency made us realize we don't need our jobs. Yes, we need the money, but there are other ways to do this, and we can do it ourselves. We don't need to walk into someone else's office and work on their things. We can work on our own and make our own money.
We realize that it costs significantly less to live the high quality of life on our own terms, doing what we want the way we want to do it. When we originally planned and budgeted for this trip, we gave ourselves about $4,800 a month. And if you follow our expenses, we're pretty comfortable right about $2,700 to $2,800 a month, all in. And that's a huge savings. And the reason we've been able to cut back so much is because our frame of mind has changed. And the great thing about living life on your own terms is you can reevaluate everything in your life and figure out, what's important to you and what you actually need to be happy. Living life on our terms for us means really getting back to basics. So taking control of our life, drinking beer, number 2, choosing happiness now and choosing to live life now instead of that delayed gratification of work hard now and live life later. But it's work hard now and live life now and enjoy it while we're doing that. And the other really big piece is getting out of that consumerism frame of mind of always needing to buy stuff. And I think it's really easy to get wrapped up in that when you're in the corporate rat race.
Mm-hmm.
And getting out of that has been so liberating. I feel so free in this lifestyle because we have taken control of our lives and we dictate what we do, where we go, how we live our life. And it's incredible how much our life has changed once we figured out what living life on our own terms meant and putting that into action.
Had you asked either one of us 5 years ago, if we won the lottery, what would you do? We would essentially be doing this. Maybe not in an RV, because at the time we didn't really think about RVing. And, don't get us wrong. We're not telling people to run out and quit your jobs.
No.
It's really about planning. And in the next couple episodes, what we're going to talk about is, planning to do something like this. It's not going to happen overnight. It took us about 5 years to really, get this going and put it into motion. So there's planning. You need financial freedom. The ability to live life on your own terms is so much easier if you're not buried in debt and you're financially free. Then it's really looking at what you want to do, continuing to plan and putting that into action and actually executing on it. And I think that's the number one thing. A lot of people talk about what they want to do, but the hardest thing is execution, because you get down to that final yard and it scares the shit out of you. Excuse me for my language, but I remember when we were about to quit our jobs, sell the house and everything else, I was a nervous wreck. Now, a lot of you aren't single. You have families, you have partners. Wait, give me the beer back. She puts the beer, we're sharing a beer and she puts it all the way over there so I can't keep drinking it. We all have families. Many of you have children. You have a dependent person, so maybe you care for your grandparents or elder parents who are someplace. And all of that has to be taken into consideration as well. If you come up with a plan, does your partner share it? And as Kate mentioned in the beginning of this, I did, and we both were really on the same page. So when trying to figure out what life on your own terms means to you, don't forget to take everyone else into consideration. So an example of this, let's say you live in suburbia, you have a family, you have parents that you care for, and getting on the road in an RV would never work for you, or at least not now. But you've decided that you want to live a more healthier lifestyle. You want your kids to be healthier, and you're concerned about some of the products they sell in the supermarket. So you've decided that you're going to convert your small backyard into a little food forest. Plant fruit trees, plant all sorts of vegetables, and that's what living life on your own terms means to you. Whether it's living life in an RV or planting your own vegetable garden and sustaining your family that way, it requires a lot of planning, and it requires you to really figure out what it is you're going to do before you actually try doing it.
And really, living life on your own terms doesn't mean a huge change. It could be a very small change in your life where you feel like you don't have control. So in Joe's example, it could mean the produce that you're buying. You're not happy with the quality and you want to grow your own. And that's the last hurdle for you to get to the point where you really feel like you're living life on your own terms. We realize we can live our life on our terms in a lot of different ways.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, we choose to travel around the country in an RV.
Okay, if you've made it this far, you have some homework to do before next week's episode. What we want you to do is take out a pad of paper, something, and write down all the things about your life that you're happy with. And then in the next column, write down all the things that you're unhappy with. Now, the third column, start coming out with the reasons why you think you're going to be unable to do, life on the road or whatever it is you happen to want. And, write those down, like, I have kids, or, I have a job I can't leave. Any one of those things, write those down as well. And in next week's episode, we're going to kind of discuss that list, and we're going to start talking about financial freedom, how to gain that, why to gain it, what it means, and why it's so important.
We hope you enjoyed this episode, and we will see you next week.
Bye, guys.